Okay, this is a really important one for admins to know. There is a setting on each system property in ServiceNow called ignore cache. If that is set to false and you change the value of that system property, you run the risk of degrading performance on the instance for 5 to 30 minutes and in some cases bringing the instance down. So you need to be aware of the ignore cache setting on a system property. If you're creating your own custom system properties, which often is a great thing to do, avoid putting hard-coding system properties into code, that sort of thing, you need to set the ignore cache property to be true. Click the checkbox when you're creating your new property. You also need to be aware of this because if you are moving update sets into production, and if those update sets are changing system properties where the ignore cache setting is set to false or not checked, when you deploy your update set, you will trigger a cache flush. And this is what causes the performance issue here, is that ServiceNow uses caches on the multiple nodes or like application servers, which are a distributed group of these servers which comprise your instance. So your instance isn't just one machine. On each of these nodes, they use a cache of system properties to save them having to go back to the database every time someone asks for a system property. Now, when you change a system property, even if the ignore cache setting is set to true and checked, the system property cache is still refreshed. And that means it has to be rebuilt from the database on each node. But this is small, likely to have an imperceptible impact on performance. However, if the ignore cache property is set to false or not selected, then the entire glide cache is recreated from the database on each and every node. This can have a significant performance impact. So make sure you're aware of this, you understand how this property works. It is on the form for every system property in ServiceNow. And if you're creating your own custom system properties, unless you have a really good reason to, tick this box, set it to true so that when that property changes, the overall glide cache will be ignored and won't be rebuilt, and you'll avoid this risk of performance issue.